Let me take you back through a little bit from the announcement from about 10 months ago when we announced Professional Risk Takers. The whole goal was to create an organization. One, I had just done World Cup scheduling and we had just gone through a ton of no shows, people not communicating, all kinds of problems. And so I just thought, what if there was, and also I think we maybe just had played Kill Pete or we just started Kill Pete, the first Kill Pete Open. And I just thought, what if there was a group of people that had, skin in the game and would show up to their games very consistently. So you got these better lobbies, and you knew you weren't getting a random noob that was just going to suicide into someone for fun. And that was kind of the concept behind Professional Risk Takers originally. What we did this year was accomplish a lot of that. So I want to take you through some of what we did here in our first year. Okay, so the original goals of Professional Risk Takers introduce the game of Risk to the world in a way that displays unique potential to growth, unlike any other esport, which I still believe Risk has potential for growth, unlike any other esport out there, for a lot of reasons, and I mentioned them last year, but just a couple of them are it's a very easy to understand game and really hard to get really good at, and then everything happens on one map from one view versus watching like a Counter-Strike game where you're watching from one person's perspective but you're only seeing a tiny corner of what's really going on. You're really getting to see everything going on at once, which I think could be a huge asset for us long term. Create a framework for Risk as an esport that continues to allow for creativity from our community and the structure that leads to marketable growth. So you guys have seen these tournaments. We've been doing all kinds of wild things, trying different stuff, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, and that's part of what we're trying to do is create just a platform that we can try new things on, and then develop a system that leads to compensation for professional players, event directors, staff, and content creators. So we're still paying very little to our match hosts and broadcasters. I still have the hope of that being more, and growing that, but that's kind of the goal. We wanted to build the base to where at least they would be getting something out of it, and these guys aren't, our match hosts aren't getting rich from hosting PRT matches, I promise you that, but they're at least getting a little bit back from what they're doing, and that was a big part of the goal. So here's our first year recap. So we hit 100 members, which was our big goal to get to 100 members. We're currently at 117 active members. We also have 229 affiliates, so basically non-paid that are just participating in special events. We had multiple invitationals with 0 no-shows this year. We averaged less than 1 no-show per round through all of our tournaments. We got the emote event sign up, so you can sign up for events by simply sending one single emote. We had our match host for all events, and nearly all events were broadcasted on Twitch, which was not the original plan. We were only going to broadcast Octos and on, but we had a ton of awesome help from broadcasters to grow that and put basically every match on Twitch live. You guys have any other thoughts from the first year of Professional Risk Takers?
Wow,
I mean,
I gotta say the no show situation was getting a little out of control in major tournaments. Now that's not to the fault of the organizers.
yeah,
You have a lot of newer players who kind of signed up willy nilly sometimes. You have more serious player base here, but I think that's great, and it allows. I know for me, as someone who makes a lot of settings for some of these tournaments,
yeah,
most of them are based on 6 players in a game. Unfortunately, it doesn't always happen. Sometimes you have a weird number of
for sure.
players, but the no shows hurt it the most. So it's great to have not have to count on those very much.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it just way easier to plan if you're not expecting those no-shows. And we all know how those can ruin lobbies when you start adding in bots or playing in weird numbers of players on maps that aren't really built for that. So that was absolutely a big part of the goal. And huge shout out. We couldn't have gotten where we were through this first year without 2 people specifically. Crackle has basically taken on running all these tournaments, does all the scheduling, which is crazy. I never would have expected he was going to take on all the scheduling. So I do very little and kind of assist him with it. We've built some back end systems that have made the scheduling a little bit easier, and creating tournaments and things like that a little bit easier. And then Zerky on the Discord side, he kind of just will take on whatever we kind of throw at him to figure out and make happen. And he does a lot. He takes a lot of crap, but he also gives you guys a lot of crap back. So he's perfect for that role. He's been really good. So huge shout out to Crackle and Zerky, and then all of our match hosts and broadcasters that made the first year of PRT what it was. let's move on to our events from the year. We started with the Hot Buns World Tour last year. Right after the World Cup, we did the Hot Buns World Tour and the poorly played Risk Try Hard Open. Then we did everybody's favorite. You guys don't even have to say it, but everybody's favorite, the Invitational, followed by the PRT Cup. Then we did the Player's Choice Invitational, which we really shook things up. We set out the settings and times early, and you got to pick which lobby you were in. We had a lot of good feedback from that. We did an Assassins tournament. We did the March Madness Invitational, which was absolute madness in a lot of different ways. The Big Map Open, which was very, very well received for playing a bunch of big maps. And then we let Chad run a Zombies tournament. So we've hit about every corner. Your guys' favorites? Or least favorites. You can say either.
I think everyone's favorite was the March Madness. Now,
You
that's
think
fair
so? Because I got a lot
to
of
say.
angry messages about March Madness, so that would surprise me.
No. I think as we've gone along, my personal favorite is the Big Map Open. I thought that played out
Yeah.
very well from a round-to-round settings. I did love the Try Hard Open as well. I thought Mallory had some amazing settings.
And introduce the
The
time
cheat,
point reduction.
which was yeah, very cool introduction. I like
Yeah.
that. And Chad brought it back with the easy invitational.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Big Map Open was actually a pretty simple tournament. Like, there wasn't anything crazy we were doing, but it got really positive feedback overall. Yeah, and the Hot Buns World Tour went well. Specifically the finals of the
I,
Invitational, has to be our number one event of the year. Specifically the final. I don't think anyone's
it's
debating that.
most talked about. I don't know if that's a
By
good
far the
thing.
most talked about, most watched. Yeah, most death threats, all of that stuff.
I think what we learned from that is don't trust redheads.
Yeah, it's a really good point. You guys can kind of see how we've evolved in our tournaments there, and we still got some left for the year. So you guys know what's going on now. We are currently in the summer road trip. Just finished up round 2 today. Crackle's working on its schedule for round 3 for next week. The 70 reset invitational starts next week. Starts this week, I guess.
Which, by the way, everybody that signed up for that is going to be able to play.
Everybody that marked interested will be in
And
that reset invitational. Yeah.
which is great.
Again, trying something new, resetting off the 70. So we've got 2 more invitational set, one for September, one for November. We've got a special tournament we're waiting to announce. It'll be announced in the next couple of weeks at the end of August, and it's going to be a very special short-term open. So it'll be a very unique one. We've got another open that'll be September, October, and then the PRT Cup coming back November, December. You guys can always feel free to send Crackle any thoughts you have on tournaments or ones you'd really like to see come back or
Yes. I need help.
ideas for him
Help
or
me out.
whatever. He's always open to sending it. If you just say your settings are trash and I hate you, that's not going to help us much. But if you want to give him some constructive ideas and feedback, we're always for that and improving what we're doing. Like Leona's coming up with a negative 70% run. That's so smart. I love the negative points for 70% wins. Okay. And then just talking about the reset. Okay, so what the big news is this coming soon part here that's going to be September through November. So when I announced PRT last year, I talked about basically 3 prongs. The first was that PRT tour with the opens and invitationals. The second was we were hoping to create special events where affiliates that were non-paid members could play, and people that wanted to run their own tournaments and just kind of use our tools and back end, but run it on their own Discord server, could do it. So we would help kind of create those events, raise up that level, and allow that creativity in that way in those special events. So we've been able to do that. We started that this year, and again, I said we're up to over 200 of those affiliates playing in those. But the third piece that was really the big crux here was that league piece. And so the benefits of the league model, as I mentioned last year, is the organizational structure is much easier to manage versus a tournament where it's one organizer and a ton of players. This has a better structure from the league owner through team owners, managers, and players. You've got this combined rooting interest like you see in the World Cup, where we see people from outside of the teams playing actually rooting on and cheering on teams. And then the potential to follow the format of other esports leagues in growth. And then ability to split by region, which is the biggest headache in the world during the World Cup of trying to make schedules overlap for different parts of the world. You got to use that to your advantage when you're building a league-based model. And so that's what we're here today to talk about is PRT League Fall 2024. So let's go into it. You guys, we've got 25 minutes until game 3 of the finals, so we're going to go through as much as we can. There's a kind of skeleton webpage up that we will post the link to. You guys can check it out so you can read through the rules a little further of how it all is going to work. But let's go through as much as we can here. So the way it'll be split up, there will be a PRT League West and a PRT League Central this year, this fall, starting this fall. And then we hope to start PRT League East next year. So the way these teams are split is not based off of their regions, where the players are from, anything like that. The way they're split up is their game times. So a big factor of how we're splitting up these leagues is making it convenient and recurring times each week that you're going to see the league games for each of these individual leagues in their area. And then in spring 2024, we'll also be introducing from the top performers in each of those leagues. We'll get to move on to the PRT Champions League for an additional opportunity to play there in the Champions League. So we're going to go through as much of the info as we can here, and then you guys throw in your questions, and I'll try to answer them as I can. So here's the structure of PRT League. So there'll be 6 franchises.
By the way, Mitch,
yeah, go
that's
ahead.
spring 2025.
Oh, did I put that wrong? Oh, yeah. For Champions League, yeah, spring 2025. Sorry,
sure it's clear.
Oh no, I thought you invented a time machine.
We're gonna go back in time and run the Champions League.
That's how we afforded to buy out SMG. We sold
That's right.
To the time machine.
That's right. Okay, so there'll be 6 franchises in each league, and you guys might have noticed on before I messed up there. The little ones down below, West, Central, and East, that's because we're setting up a tiered promotion relegation system within these leagues, and eventually we will have second and third tiers, hopefully, within each of these leagues. But there will be 6 franchises in each of these tiers, and starting this year for PRT League West and PRT League Central, it'll be open to any PRT member if they want to mark that they'd like to be an owner. If we get 6 or fewer of those, it'll be $200. A person that wants to buy a franchise, they will be that franchise owner for that league. And then if there are more than 6, we'll do an auction. We'll auction them off so that it's fairly open to all potential interests, so they can jump in and own their franchise there. And then franchises that are not purchased, if we have less than 6, they'll be retained under league ownership. So there'll be 6 franchises in each. So let me keep going. Yeah. Any questions on this?
I just wanted to point out in the chat, so some of the questions of it's a legit league. So those of you that are sports fans or whatnot, whether it's football, whether it's baseball. When I say football, I mean English football, European football. You're legit owning a franchise here that you can grow and choose the direction of as the franchise owner.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's
kind of an investment that you're buying into a franchise, and as the league grows, that franchise could become more valuable. And you'll have a lot of say in what you do, and you'll be one of the owners that'll be voting on different changes and things like that as we go. So you'll have a stake in the league.
So what you're saying is, if I put down $200 and did a league franchise, I could get somebody like, I don't know, like Talical, and then like he's saying in here, you can own me. So does that mean I could make him call me daddy?
There's no. We could potentially make that a stipulation. That's
depends
possible.
Depends on the player.
I'm just curious.
Depends on your agreement. There. Okay, let me keep going. You guys are gonna. I'll go through as many questions as I can, but I think I'll answer a few of them in these next couple of slides. So owners will have a right to determine your team name, subject to league approval. Basically, current copyrights and profanity will be trying to filter out. But in general, you'll have the right to determine your own team name, your brand for your franchise. You'll have the opportunity to contract with players and then sell the franchise during any offseason to another PRT member. You have to be a PRT member to own a franchise. The teams will have a roster of 3 players. Sounds similar to the World Cup, with the option of the owner being the 4th player. So the owner can be a player on the team, or they can just own the team with the 3 players, just depending on what the owner's wanting to do. No player can play more than 10 games in a single season. And then based off performance, teams will earn bonuses and have an opportunity to be promoted or relegated and earn a spot in the Champions League. So,
And Mitch, I wanted to point out just for that owner slide of the $200 that a lot of that is just for the first season. The $200. The main goal of the future seasons will be more in line with promotion and relegation, being the end game of those seasons.
sorry, what the $200?
Oh, sorry, did I break up there?
No, you're good. I think I lost track of what you were saying at the start.
I just wanted to point out that $200 fee to buy a team, a lot of that is for just for the first season. There's no $200 rebuy-in after that.
Right.
Kinda
You're buying
give
the
a little
franchise
more
one time.
incentive.
It's yours. Yeah, it's your franchise. Good point. Okay, so the way the teams will work is a lot like you guys see the World Cup teams working. Your points will combine, so it'll be players playing in FFA games against the 5 other franchises in your league to earn points to move up the table, to finish as the top point scorer. So there'll be FFA games, but you're playing in a team format across the games, similar to what we see in the World Cup. Teams. This is a big note, especially for all of you that hate on settings constantly. Which I don't know if there's anyone in here, but there might be one. Teams will get to select their own World Dom and 70% settings. So each week there'll be a 70% game and there'll be a World Dom game played by the league, and you'll get to select your own settings. When you're the host team, you'll get to host 2 weeks each year. Because there's 6 teams in 12 weeks. So you get 2 weeks as host. You'll play your settings on those 2 weeks. You'll have to play 70% game and have to play a World Dom game, but you're going to have the opportunity to build your settings, again, subject to league approval, just to make sure you don't do anything too crazy. But you'll get to pick what you think are the right settings, skill-based, whatever, to determine what it should be. So teams will get to
So you're
select...
basically choosing your home map and settings. Like you would be playing in your own home arena.
That's right. You'll get to tailor it to whatever your preferences are, or your team, what you guys play well. Maybe you play big maps, small maps, whatever. That's your thing. It'll be your host site will be your 2 maps that you select. One for 70 and one for your World Dom game.
I fully agree with Buns in the chat.
Fixed Caps
Iceland
Iceland
every week.
Yeah. And
Yep.
if everyone
100% concur.
If everyone picks fixed caps, then we're going to play a bunch of, fixed caps. Except we're playing World Dom 70%. But other than that, it could be fixed caps. Okay, so teams can decide which map they would like to use for their World Dom and 70%. So you're going to get to pick your maps. So we won't have repeat maps. So there's 6 teams. There'll be a total of 12 maps selected for a season. You can select new maps for new seasons. But each season, there'll be 12 maps. So once your map gets selected, you got to pick a different map, and we'll go in a randomly assigned order for this year. But then in future years, it'll be based off the final league standings, the order of map selection. You get to choose modifiers, Frog. That's correct. 24 games in a season over 12 weeks, so two games a week for 12 weeks. Think we covered those for now. Okay, so to be a player, to play on a PRT League team, you must be an active PRT member and register for the league prior to August 1 for the fall season. So it'll be, again, just an emote. Zerky will have that open probably sometime tonight, where you can actually emote that, hey, I want to play this year in the league, and that'll make you available to be signed by a franchise owner. Franchise owners can begin signing players on August 1, Any non-signed registered member will be considered a free agent and be eligible to be signed by any team. Players may be only on one PRT roster at any time. Players can be traded or transferred during the trade window. Again, that will mention, all of those will be lined out on the rules page that we'll send you guys to here. The format. So there'll be a spring and fall season registration deadline. That's basically the deadline to say, hey, I'm going to be a player in the league this year, is set for those dates, and that makes you possible to be signed for each year. You'll remain on the team once you sign for as long as your contract's got you signed for. Week 1 is the first Monday of September for the fall season. That's when we'll start week 1. You'll have 12 consecutive weeks. And week 1 is March 1 for this, or the first Monday of March for the spring. Yes.
I did want to point out Blazen's question here: who decides trades, owners, even if we aren't paid? Well, and I think you're going to get to that in the next couple slides. Right?
Yeah. I think that'll answer a lot of these questions. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Each season will be 12 consecutive weeks of 2-game matches. We've already covered that. 70% in a World Dom each week. All 6 leagues teams participate in all games. There's no postseason tournament or playoffs, so think of it more like a Premier League season where you finish in that table that you finish in the regular season is how you finish. There's no point in having a playoffs in Risk because you need 6 players basically, and so it just doesn't make sense to play a whole season to decide who's the champion in one game. You decide it over a 12-week season. So here's your schedule for the fall. Just to show you which dates we'll be playing on. Odd weeks are played on Monday nights. Even weeks are played on Tuesday nights. So it's a fixed schedule from the start. You'll also know all the times and who the host teams are before we start week 1. So it'll be very set. You can put it in your calendar and know when you're playing. Again, in hopes of making this a very recurring, you know when to tune in and watch PRT League Risk each week.
I'm digging the team names.
Yeah, so we thought we would force everyone
to
use a letter to be as creative as
possible.
Team
C.
Team C is a good one. This is the extent of creativity you're allowed to use. You can pick which letter comes after the word team. So that's as much leash as we're giving you.
Well, hang on. If somebody picks Team G, well then all hell breaks loose. We don't need that kind of chaos.
That's true.
In a
it's
got to
be one of these 6 letters. That's right.
So I just want to jump on top of that and say so if you're looking at Team A, right? You're the host, and I know me and Mitch had talked about this previously, but let's say you're mostly like a West Coast of America time-based team. Your time to start may be that 3 UTC in that 0 to 3 UTC window for the Western League.
Yeah.
So they know when they're playing a home team, when you're playing Team A at home, they're the home team. That's going to be a late night game.
That's right.
Kind of like you see on the schedule for sports leagues in real life.
That's right. So, yeah, you're going to have some teams that like to play later. Their start time is going to be later in the window, and some that like to play earlier. It's going to be earlier in the window. So that'll have a bit of a feel to – that's just that Team Crackle lives on the East Coast. He's going to want to play in that early window, and some players live out west and would like to play on the West Coast window.
No, Rito, we will let you name the team. We were just kidding about the letters.
Yeah, you get to name the team. We're just kidding. Just with legal approval, so you can't use something with profanity or a trademark. So each franchise is designated host for 2 weeks of each season. Here's your window. So in the central window, it's 17 to 20 UTC. Each team gets to pick which time their 2 weeks are going to be. Between 17, 18, 19, or 20 UTC is their start time. In the in the Western League, it's 0, 1, 2, and 3 are your UTC options. And again, some teams will like to play the earlier one for their host weeks, and some will be later, so you get a little bit of variety there in terms of what time, but it's within a very fixed window. And then each franchise will also get to select that host map settings. Scoring, which everyone cares about. Winning a game earns a team 10 league points. Each bounty with an immediate trade or victory on that turn, the same World Cup rule on bounty points, earns a team 3 league points. Getting to 50% of the territories in a 70% game without winning on that turn results in the loss of 1 league point. And then teams can be punished up to 10 league points for violation of fair play as determined by the league ownership. So that's in there because there could be potentials where the table is structured a certain way in that last week that creates a lot of problematic risk play, but we will deal with that via punishment of league points, similar to F1 usage of how you handle free-for-all events and penalties. Okay, sorry, I don't know if I have a slide specifically on player pay. So what we have is we are working up an official contract form where owners will be able to sign players. We will set a league minimum. It'll be voted on by the owners each year. The owners will decide that league minimum salary for the year. We're setting a minimum of $25 per player for the year for this year. So each owner will have to pay their players a minimum of $25. They can agree to whatever they want, though. We're not setting a salary cap for year one. And then moving into future seasons, it'll be a league owner vote for each season on what those minimums and salary caps are going to be for each team. So yes, players will be signed and paid a minimum of $25 for the season. And then beyond that, it's up to the owners on what they want to negotiate between players. Remember, players are just free agents. As of August 1, you're a free agent. You're free to negotiate with any of the league owners on what salaries you would like.
And I want to point out, like, there's a $25 minimum, and that's just, the league minimum. But there is no real salary cap yet. There could be in the future, to keep things fair. But as of right now, you can structure contracts for players. Like if you're the owner, you can structure bonuses for wins and how their team finishes. So if you want to get the better players, you can actually literally pay them what they're worth.
Yeah, so the agreements between the franchise owners and the players will be actual legal contracts. I have a lawyer friend that is actually working on a form based, so it's very simple to fill out, form based, basically locking in the player for X number of seasons, spring, fall, whatever. And then the salary and bonuses potential for that player. So yeah, it'll be form based, and those will be out by August 1. So that you guys can review them and see what they'll look like.
So Hot Buns, the money's coming from the owner. So like you said, the owners are buying an interest in this league as actual team owners in a real sport. So it's up to them to, there's a $200 buy-in and all that, but for the first year, but it's legit. It's not just for fun here. It's a legit esports league now.
If you want to slightly edit the contract, it's possible. I'll have to figure out. I guess it depends, and I'll have to check with him on what he's comfortable with and such. Yeah, so Europeans use transfers. In America, we use trades, so it's a little different structure. But we've called them trades and transfers. Both are allowed. But obviously, you're still having to function within that roster required size. But yeah, transfers would be negotiable. And frazzles are surely a common currency used in transfers.
Sounds like some made up European currency.
Yeah, is that what they got off the euro? So I think that's what they use in Britain now is frazzles. Okay, so the goals here. There, I got the year right on Champions League. Spring 2025, we'll introduce the Champions League. For this year one, the top 3 teams in the West and the top 3 teams in the Central will get a spot in the Champions League with an additional prize money available to them for the spring. Hopefully, in the spring, we would start the East League. It's going to depend a lot on demand. All those guys are asleep right now, but they'll be up in a little while, and we'll get some idea of the demand in that East League, which will be like 10 to 12 UTC game times, something in that range. So we'll figure out exactly when that'll start. And then as demand starts, we'll start those Tier 2 leagues for West, Central, and East. And again, we'll have a promotion and relegation structure between those leagues each year of people moving down and moving up based off their performance. Some future goals, what I think it would really take to get that outside exposure and get people excited about watching Risk. It's really hard to get them excited about watching avatars on a digital Risk board. But if we can create some of, and what we tried to do with these post-game interviews, which I started trying to create from the Risk World Cup last year was letting people know like how stressful that 70% run really is in a tournament, right? So you hear that player after they make the 70 run, and you hear like they're a little stressed, their heart was beating fast, or they're chaining a couple kills for a win, and you kind of hear the emotion in it and how serious it is. And that's what draws people in, right? You can only get so drawn in watching random numbers hit other numbers on a map. But when you start to see the people behind it and what they're thinking and doing and the emotion, that's when you really can start building. And so in hopes of moving towards the future of getting players and teams on camera, so you can watch these players playing and watching the live reactions when that 5 stat gets hit and how they react, or the no cards on 4, whatever it is. That's what probably really grows the spectator piece of the sport. And so that's one of our big future goals, those multiple tiers. And then eventually, when we've got a bunch of tiers going, we would have a League Cup that would basically be all teams are in it for all of the tiers, and they would play just a tournament similar to like an FA Cup type tournament. So those are some of the future goals of the event. I don't know if I have any more. Okay, and so if you want to re-up or get signed up as a member for Professional Risk Takers before August 1st so that you can be in this first group of potential signees, you can get $5 off your PTR annual membership. We've reduced all coupons down to $5 off maximum. So the most you can get off of your Professional Risk Taker membership is $5. And you're free to use your favorite streamer and use their code. We're all for that. But any coupon will get you $5 off. If you use year 2, you can get $5 off your initial membership, or if you're re-upping this year for year 2. You can also use code HOTBUTTONS. Yeah, that's great.
Hey, so Mitch, it sounds like you're wrapping up.
Yep.
I'm not sure if this question got addressed, but it came up a couple times in chat.
Yes.
So franchise owners put in $200, and then on top of that, they pay at least 25 per player.
That's correct.
Are we gonna get any idea of what the prize pool looks like?
Yes.
Just to be able to do like a cost benefit analysis, kind of.
Yes, absolutely. So in the official announcement, we'll release all the prize amounts, but suffice it to say, it will be significantly more than $200 for winning the league. And keep in mind, your $200 is a one-time purchase. So winning the league in multiple years continues to add up prize money and potential growth versus like an entry fee, into a tournament.
Also, somebody brought up sponsorships, and I'll be honest, if you as a team owner, you can actually get your own sponsorships. It
That's
doesn't
right.
have to be just for the league.
Yeah, so part of the structure I showed last year when I talked about what the future of a league could look like is these teams now have assets that they can try to get a sponsorship, or that they just want to tie it under their LLC or company they work for to get a write-off of sponsoring a team. That's great. Now you can sponsor your team and use that money for that purpose and use it as a write-off. So that's great, and that's a great way to structure it. Other questions? We've got 2 minutes until game 3. I've got to kind of reset here on my end. No other questions? You guys see anything else in the chat that was popping up?
I don't. I think we hit all the big ones.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this sounds really cool.
Yeah, it should be super exciting. It's kind of the third and final prong of what we were trying to create with Professional Risk Takers, the league aspect of it, and I think it's got a big potential for growth, with how we use the creativity of all these awesome people out here. Anything else? Okay, everyone's good. Okay, I'm gonna get reset here, and we'll kick off game 3 in 2 minutes. Thank you, Micah and Crackle, for hanging out. You guys are welcome. Are you guys staying for the final? Are you guys co-commentating?
Sure. Why not?
Crackle,
Yeah,
you
why not?
okay.
If you guys are still fine with putting up with me.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. Okay, I'm going to mute myself real quick, but then I'll hop back in here in a second once I get set up.
Mitch, what's
Hey,
the
top 24.
current membership
What's the
fee
current price
PRT?
before the £5 off, Mitch?
It's
For the
free.
PRT? 20, yeah. So, yeah, I was just making sure. Yeah, fair enough.
Does my Pro Snuggles code still get $10 off? Or have they been discontinued?
Yeah, they're equal across the
Okay.
board.
Well, so Quarantined and I figured it out for us when we did it. What you can do is we can turn everyone down. You know how you can right click someone's name and turn their user volume to 0%? And then we can ask them to do the same to us. So that worked just fine for game 1 that Q and I did together. All right. Yeah, I should be able to go there.
Huh? What? Just mute you like personally, kind of thing. Yeah, we can. If we just right click your name, we can just mute you like on a personal basis.
Yeah, we can just mute
Yeah.
you from ourselves, and you can do the
Yeah,
same
we'll
to
do that
us.
then.
Like, there's no need to mess around with the volume scale.
Cool, sounds good. Right, I'll unmute you all.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
remember to unmute afterwards, because it lasts until you actually unmute.
Right. Muted by you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? All right, cool. All right. I can drag him. Let me see if I can reach. Gotta stretch.
Welcome everybody to Game 3 of the Risk World Cup 2024 final. We've got 2 games in the bag, and this game is for that 3rd spot. And then we will draw who is the Golden Game champion. The winner of this game wins a minimum of $300 for their team. Eastern Europe, United States 1, Germany, Canada 2, England 2, and England 1 in this match. Thought that it would show the lobby. Fellow daddy, join the club. All right, let's let him go. Literal daddy. Okay, yeah, this lobby's crazy good. Eastern Europe wins game 1, so they have a minimum of $300 guaranteed, and they'll be game 1 in that Golden Game draw after this. USA wins game 2. They will be game 2 in the Golden Game draw. And this is for the game 3 slot. Speedster, Mr. Babs, Blazin, Zycron, Roberto Lowe's. I think I say Lowe's. And then Samboy 1, 2, 3 here. In this one, they're playing Turkey. It is World Dom, Prague, And you can see first in turn order, you've got Zychron playing as Dark England. Second in turn order, Speedster for Germany. Third in turn order, Roberto Lowe's for Eastern Europe. Fourth, Blazin for England 2. Fifth, Mr. Babs for Canada 2. And Samboy, sixth in turn order there for the US. Initial thoughts on Spawn from you guys? Yeah, so early you guys think these guys are just working on creating as many positions as possible, lining up people? Obviously no bonuses. And line up the person behind you? To stay alive? Mm-hmm. To chain them. Yeah. Yeah, keep in mind this is winner takes all, so bounty points don't matter here. It's the winner getting the spot for their team. If you win a game in the finals and you're not the champions, you win $300 for your team. And then if you are the champions of the Risk World Cup will go home with a $1,500 grand prize. So the winner of this game's got money on the line for their team just by winning the game. And potentially a lot of money. That's true. Or could buy a PRT League team. There you go. Yep. Not now. I guarantee these guys are keeping track of that, right? They're not going to let someone sneak an extra troop out. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Doesn't feel quite as comfy there. Not the Leona Snuggle, that's true. Oh, shoot. Yep,
Oh my
that was my fault,
goodness.
sorry.
Mitch,
Guys, they weren't saying anything good anyways. Don't worry.
I mean, accurate.
Okay, we've got Micah and Crackle here also. So, they were saying the good stuff.
Oh man, we got to recap the last 10 minutes.
Recap everything you just said. Go ahead. They don't like red spawn. Blazin's got a bit of a kill guard there in the corner. Classic World Prague World Dom strategy of just get as many spots spread out around the map. Crackle thinks Samboy's only hope is to trade on 3 every time.
Yeah, and then I was saying about Blazin that he's just about all of his positions have like 2 territories on him. I know he's not on 12 yet, but it looks like he's trying to slowly grab 12 territories just because a lot of times players at this level don't really want to hit a 2 just because they don't want to get wrecked by the dice by hitting a 2. And I think I might have missed it, but was Speedster able to hold 12 on that turn that just passed? It looked like he was.
I think
No, I
he got
believe he got
back to
hit down
12 and then
before.
knocked
He
back
got
down.
back to
Yeah.
12. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not going to see any bonus taking, but I also don't think you'll see any of these players asleep at the wheel letting anyone hold 12. But you might see different players try for it.
You guys think Babs has improved on his spawn position any so far?
Well,
I mean,
I mean, he's got 6 different territories if he stacks that 2 a little bit too. So, I mean, he's not exactly
he has,
not
but
spread out, I should say.
yeah, he's improved a little bit, but because these portals are stable and they're not going to turn off anytime soon and move around, he needs to be doing what he can to kind of move off of portals, just based off where he is in the turn order and what his spawn was. I don't think you want to be on portals if you're Babs.
Hide from the portals and hope somebody sits in the portal to make it harder to kill you.
Yeah, he's definitely got to move the. Well, he's got a 3 and a 5 in the middle. He's got to move one of them south, maybe a little more. If he can get something up in the top left, eventually would be great for him.
Who do you guys think has the best position so far?
I still like Speedster.
Yeah, I do too.
Samboy's position would be good if he wasn't last in the turn order.
I like. I was going to say I like Zycron, but he doesn't really have anything in the middle.
Yeah, I was noticing the same thing. He needs to migrate into the middle of the board a little bit.
Like I like the fact that he's not overstacking anything. He's kind of doing 2s, 3s, 4s, but
Yeah.
he needs to get something migrated there. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't seem bothered by his absence in the middle. It doesn't really seem to be. Oh, maybe I stand correct. It looks like he's fortifying that 3, maybe in an effort to head west.
Might be moving that towards the middle. Was that? Oh, that was just a really fast move by Speedster. I thought he skipped for a second.
I mean, they don't call him Speedster for nothing.
That's true. He's just really fast at Risk. When you're playing that much fixed caps Europe, you got to play fast turns or it gets even longer.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
I can't say I hate anyone's position really. At least not yet. I mean, like you said, we'd like to see Mr. Babs move a little bit. We love like you said, Samboy's positioning is great. He is spread from one end of this country to the other, just completely embracing Manifest Destiny as Team USA.
Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Turkey falls under that Manifest Destiny. It's just a matter of time. And I also I don't think we can count Roberto out here. He's 3rd in turn order, which is solid for World Dom Prague, and his spawn is also it's also very good. Or his spawn, the position that he now finds himself in. Now that we're about to get into round 4, I think maybe he should be a little bit more on the northeast corner. He's got a lot in the southeast corner, but he's decently spread out. I think the main thing that Roberto has to watch out for is Speedster lining him up.
What I'm interested in is, do we see any bounty attempt here, any kill attempt in the second set of trades even.
You think any will be profitable at that point?
I mean, there's no bonuses, right? So you'd think like I think kind of Zycron Speedster might not have enough of a trade on the second trade sequence there to do anything. But once you get to blue and white, Blazon could be in a good position if you can get lines on red and purple.
Red and purple?
Well, red or purple, one or
Okay.
the other.
Okay. On a 4-card trade?
'cause- Yeah, so once we get to the second set of trades, I mean, you're going to see what, the 20, the 25, the 30. So by the time we get to Blazon with that 35, he might actually have enough to make it a kill during
Yeah.
that second set of trades.
Make it
I
profitable.
don't know that anyone before him will.
Okay.
Yep. And you're better off leaving yourself with options, right? If you can line up one player, obviously that's good. But if you can line up two, that's I mean, even better, right?
Mm-hmm.
There I am with my stellar commentary.
That's a good
Two's
point,
better-
Mike.
two's
Killing
better
2
than
people
one.
is better than killing 1.
Options are a good thing, says
Well,
Mike.
Yeah.
I wasn't even suggesting necessarily the chain just yet, but if you can have a second choice, if someone sets early or
Sets early.
something,
Yeah,
or
sure.
It's tough to visualize chain kill at this point in the game for anyone right now. I mean, at least as looking at everyone's point of view, it's tough to dial in there. I don't know. The other
looks like
problem with Blazon. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say Speedster. It looks like he's about to be in a 4-position play here.
Yeah, he's been
after that move.
consolidating. Pretty aggressive.
Sorry, go ahead, Crackle.
Well, I wonder who Speedster's possibly lining up then, because if he's going to start combining into larger stacks, tells me he's possibly got lines on something in mind.
I think he's lining up Roberto.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, the
But I
4 top left Roberto's tricky for him to get to.
Also, have you guys
Yeah.
noticed Zycron's cards?
Yeah, I did see that wild in there. Are you surprised Zycron's...
And he's got a set without it.
Yeah. That's classic England 1 luck here for Zycron. Are you surprised Zycron's not taking a portal? Does it matter?
I think he's got enough positions everywhere that he doesn't really need a portal. And also, he's got a 4-stack all the way on the east side of the board that can easily hop into that Speedster 1
Yeah, as of now, it's open.
whenever it wants
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, and the only thing with that is if somebody puts both of those 4 stacks in the same position, there's nothing really between them. Now, he's first to trade, so it may not even matter. But if he goes to 5 cards, he might be wanting someone to sit on that portal and kind of add a little separation between stacks.
Yeah. I think he's hoping someone sits. I mean, that whole right side is connected. It's all... There's only a Speedster 1 in between all of those positions on the right side of the board for Zycron. Bradamite, we will do the post-game interview, and then we'll do the Golden Game draw right after. Consolidation here for Mr. Babs. He still hasn't really been able to get an edge place on the board, but he's spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
Samboy just taking every corner of the map he can find.
Yeah, I mean, if you're 6th in the turn order, you're definitely incentivized more than anyone else to spread out. Obviously, all these players want to spread out, but Samboy has a particular interest in it.
Surely
the one
Zycron
thing,
doesn't skip here.
No, I don't think he does. You don't want to be last in turn order. I will say, I think the one thing that I will say is we will see a very cool kill or bounty, whatever you want to call it, coming up here pretty soon. Like any of the pathing that's going to lead for a kill here is going to be very interesting.
It's going to be challenging. I mean, they do have portals to use, and the portals aren't super blocked yet, which makes it easier. But yeah, it'll be a challenging kill because of the number of positions.
Roberto has, he almost has Blazon lined up, but Roberto can't quite get to the 3 of Blazons over in the bottom left. It's blocked up by Samboy 3s and a black 4 and a red.
Yeah, he's kind of nicely hidden back there.
Yeah. Aside from that 3, Roberto has Blazon everywhere else.
Yeah.
And then I actually, Blazon's lines on Mr. Babs, if as soon as Blazon gets enough troops, he appears to have Babs everywhere else. He's neighboring all of Babs' positions.
Yeah.
He's not quite neighboring that 3 of Babs in the middle of the board, but he's close enough to it with that 4, and it's not, that path isn't closed off.
Wonder if he moves over.
Well, Roberto does have a couple lines to that 3. You can bring 3 down. You can go through the portal that has the 1 on it in the bottom, come up through a 3.
Yeah,
Depends on
he's
what
just got to hit a
skateboard
3
you're
to
at
get there. Or he can take his 3 down.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he's just going to have to hit a 3. At this point, hit a 3.
Right.
Bring the 5 up, hit a couple 1s, and the white 4, or the white 1, I guess.
Yeah, and then if you're Babs, obviously you're focused on staying alive, but you should also be trying to line up Samboy. And I don't really see that line for Babs. I mean, he's got Samboy in some places, but not nearly enough to say he's got good lines.
Yeah, Samboy's done a really good job of getting into corners and hiding.
Yep.
I don't know that anyone necessarily has all of his positions.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. I don't think anyone has all of Samboy. True.
Yeah, I think blue has the best lines, maybe, but he's going to have to bash through a 4 to get to 1. He's bash through a white 3 to get to both of the purple 3s.
All right, Zycron gets the 4 trade here.
4 trade, and he gets to keep his wild.
Keeping a wild, checking out which territory he wanted. He obviously knows all the territory names in Turkey, so he didn't have to scroll in. He just knew where he was looking.
Yeah, so he it looks like he is going to choose to migrate further into the board. I think we see him hit that white 1 on to the southeast. Okay. Never mind, I'm wrong again.
Wonder if he's splitting
Oh,
into
it
2
looks like he's
spots.
trying to spread out a little
Yeah.
bit. Maybe he's going for the split here.
I mean, we know he has a trade on 4 coming up with the
Mhm.
Joker.
So he
So
feels pretty confident.
I wonder why he wants to split, unless he's afraid of someone making a follow-up kill on him, since he will be in a weaker troop position.
Yeah. Mongoose says Samboy doing as needed. Grim says I like the way Sam plays. 6 isn't a death sentence. I think a lot of people spawn in 6 in these settings and go, well, I hope someone fails a kill in front of me.
Right.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, you spread out, you put yourself in the best chance of being able to take advantage of someone else's failure, which is what he's doing. There's a small chance that if someone goes to 5 cards, he's got a chance. If someone is weak enough that he could just make a kill, but I think we're past that point. Usually, that's what the first set of trades here.
Yeah.
So Speedster's fortify that he just made, I think was interesting. He moved everything into that north position that he just took.
Which tells us
I'm
he's
not-
lining up Roberto.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if it improved his lines on Roberto, but Roberto is definitely the main person that he's got lined up, because he he opted to prioritize lining up Roberto's northern position as opposed to the position that Roberto has on the west side on that portal.
Yes.
But
because
he
he
can
moved
path
away
it.
from it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
that
think he's
path
thinking
is
that
still
9.
open for him to hit the 6 and wrap down.
Yeah, I think it would benefit the rest of the board for someone to put something between the blue 4 and the blue 5. Because if not, Speedster is going to kill him next turn. We're gonna get 4 cards.
When he's on 4 cards.
I mean, it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
As long as he gets a trade on 4, it's game over. I think for blue.
You think we see it from somebody? You think we see someone split and make the kill harder?
Well, they could. I was going to say they could block in the top left and him that where that black 1 is, but he's got the portal access, so that's no good.
I mean, you could
I think really that's
split
sorry,
the
go ahead.
4s or split the 4 and the 5. I think would do basically the same thing. Just make that
4
not
and
a
the
straight
5
line.
Sorry, the 4 and the 4 might be better because you do have the 5 below, you got the 3 above it.
Makes it more
But
annoying.
that's going to take some teamwork for the board to accomplish, and I don't see that happening.
No, they're all so focused on where they're going, I think. And they may not think a speedster kill necessarily wins them the game.
No, it won't. I mean, it's not. He's not going to be able to follow up with anything. I don't think.
Just gets them ahead on cards.
Advantage, yeah. Well, not being able to follow up the first kill can hurt you. We've seen that happen a million times.
Yeah.
Again, that's one of those positions where Samboy could maybe make something happen if he's got enough troops.
Yeah, and I don't think Speedster has too much to fear from Zycron's lines just yet, because the first trade in the second round of trades I don't think is going to be
Not
quite
big
enough
enough.
for Zycron to take out Speedster.
Well, that's the other thing is Speedster's not getting a huge trade from that either. It's just
Yeah,
on
well,
the
we just
edge
saw
of being
Babs.
worth it.
Yeah, we just saw Babs consolidating 4 positions only, which I like that later in the turn order. If you can't get a good spread like Samboy has, I like having just 2 or 3 just really big stacks where no one, at least for a few trades, can really have a big enough stack to hit.
Yeah. Just make it to where they can't possibly get enough troops over there to hit you.
Yeah, especially with everyone so spread out.
Steve GTI says Blazin has really good lines on Samboy.
Yeah, he's right.
I just don't see him killing Samboy first. Just I don't think it's affordable as of yet.
Maybe depending on how many trades happen before that.
Yeah. I mean, the
third
benefit
trade,
of
yeah.
getting the last trade is Samboy gets to sit on 50 plus troops at least until the second round of trades come out.
Yeah. If Samboy has cards on 3, does he trade here?
I think if you're playing for the win, you don't.
Okay.
I think a trade on 3 here just gives you the 20 trade. You're just going to sit there until you get the 4 cards again, and you're dead.
Okay. So it just keeps you alive.
I think you play for the largest trade, at least the second set, and then after that, if you have a trade on 3, you take.
Do it at that time.
So, if he has the set on 3, do you think he skips and holds, or would that be inadvisable? Do you want to, or do you want to make sure that you can get that 4th card, even though it makes you much more appetizing a prey?
Well, I think it depends on. I don't think he's the first person that someone's going to go after. And what we've seen generally, at least in Progwell Dom lately, what I've seen is the follow-up kills are getting very hard because everyone's very good at spreading out.
Yeah.
So
chain.
I think if someone before him dies first, that he will survive the trick. That being said,
He's
never
hard
know.
to chain. He's hard to chain into if he's not the first kill.
yes. Yeah. So, I mean, if he's the first kill, someone does have that line, like you said, Blazin might.
Bradomite says Sam
Yeah.
either takes a card or skips. If he's got the trade on 3, he skips. That has become much more popular to skip last turn order with a trade on 3 and hope that someone's sitting on
Yeah.
5 to go kill.
That's something that has definitely become more popular. And I think it was Riedel who did that recently. He won a recent tournaments. I don't know if he won the game, but he had a really good finish by doing that.
Yeah.
Just kind of sat there,
Speaking of
and let
sets,
everything float around.
Blazin decided to take the 20 trade on
Blazin
3.
sits on 3. Why?
Well,
What's
I think
he
he
feeling?
saw the lines that Blue had on.
Yeah.
Blue had on him.
Yeah,
I don't know
the
if Blue
Babs
buys.
4 to 5 from a few turns ago opened up that line for Roberto to get in on Blazin. But I can't imagine that Blazin is too pleased with
Having the
feeling
trade
forced
there?
to
Yeah.
set on 3 when he's 4th in the turn order.
Well, this also makes it a little more profitable for Speedster going after Blue.
Also, you can see
Yes.
Blazin there requesting the kill guard. He's asking someone to move back
Where
into
that
that
red
position.
one is, yeah.
Mhm.
He's asking Babs to move back down. Does
I don't
that
know if that
eliminate
benefits Babs or-
Blazin's chance to win the game by taking the early trade? Brandamite thinks it
I-
does.
I'm not sure if it eliminates it, but it definitely reduces it. It reduces it by quite a bit.
He needs more chaos
Um,
to happen now.
And Babs, I'm not sure if Babs is incentivized to take that kill guard spot
He does
because
not.
Babs comes after Blazin in the turn order, right? So
Mhm.
Babs should be worried about Blazin trying to
Yeah, he
line
doesn't
him up.
necessarily
I mean,
want to keep him alive.
right. He doesn't. Well, now he should be maybe a little bit less worried because Blazin set early. So
True.
yeah. So I'm not sure. So Babs is breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief that his main predator probably isn't hunting him. But obviously he's not out of the woods yet. And then Samboy apparently doesn't have the set on 3. Does take that 4th card.
Yeah, he takes a card. Okay, so it's a trade on 4 for Zycron.
He did have to use his wild for that.
Cashed in the wild. Is he going for... England
Yeah,
1
and-
so far has failed to kill in the USA in Game 1 of the final. Failed the 70 run in Game 2 of the final. Is Zycron going for redemption or the trifecta here?
Well, the door is open for a little bit more risky play because since Blazin took the early 20 trade, all of these early trades for seats 1 through 3 are going to be worth 5 troops more.
Yeah.
So the math has changed a little bit.
But it looks like he's just
And,
defensively playing this.
It does look like that, but if you're Speedster and you're the only player under 40 troops right now, you're a little worried right now. But I guess you're less worried given that Zycron still has 17 troops to place and he's used most of his clock.
Yeah, he won't be doing it. Well, we have seen Zycron place late and still run it for sure. But
No, I think it's a defensive move here.
yeah,
Buns, Blazin traded early because Roberto had lines on him.
Yeah, I think
So he traded
Blazin
early
was
to
feeling
avoid.
nervous about blue.
Yep. All right, Speedster gets the set for
here
30.
we go. Does he kill Blue, or someone else for that matter? Red possibly. Could be a red kill.
Yeah, I think Speedster actually has this. If you guys look at the lines here, that 17 hits the 4, then hits the red one, then hits the 8. 23 hits the 5. 15 goes into the 9 and then goes left. 12. Well, he didn't really leave enough over there, so maybe he's. Nope. He's just pathing it differently from how I was calling it out a second ago. It looks like he's going to use that 23 to hit the
23
5
down.
and then go east, and then the 12 is going to go east to hit the 6.
Got the 11 on 6. And the
Nope,
23
and
will clean up the rest.
Yeah. So Roberto played very well. He lined up his prey so well that he convinced him to
forced him to trade
set
early. Yeah, that's true. Can take that
but-
success. And Eastern
Yeah,
Europe
but-
still has a chance to be the World Cup champions if Game 1 is
That's
strong.
right.
So
They game 1. Yeah, they did win game 1. But obviously the downside of forcing Blazin to set early was Speedster had the 5 extra troops to use to go after him.
yeah.
So we might be able to debate on if Speedster still had that kill had Blazin not set early.
I think he
Um,
goes for it either way.
but-
but it's definitely less
Yeah.
profitable in that scenario.
And it looks like he can chain Babs right now.
Yeah, clock is running. He's got to get moving.
Yeah,
think
he
he's
doesn't
got
have
enough
too
time,
many
though.
to hit. Yeah, split. Just gotta remember to
Now
split.
this is an example of why Babs maybe should have spread out more. 'Cause
Yeah.
they made that follow up a little
So
too
Speedster
easy
chains
timing-wise.
that into a kill of Babs. That is the end of Canada 2's hopes. They will not be your Risk World Cup champions, but a fantastic run all the way to the final for Canada.
Yep. GG's to Canada too. And then another excellent kill by Speedster.
We're left with the two Englands, Germany, and USA here in a 4-player endgame. Does Speedster just have a dominant position, you guys think? Or is this close?
Depends on
Well,
what Samboy does. I don't think
Yeah.
he can kill Samboy this turn.
No, they can't get to the 8. He's too spread out.
Yeah, and he's got to get through his ones. It's just he's blocking himself too much with where he's had to take the kills.
Yeah, honestly, it was enough of a feat to chain 2 kills,
Yeah.
being in the second seat on the second round of trades.
So Samboy trades and kills Speedster?
So the next trade I think is worth 40 or 45. I don't think it's quite going to be profitable for him to do that because Speedster's sitting on 97 troops.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to hope that Blazin beats Speedster up a little bit here, but I'm not sure that Blazin is necessarily incentivized to do so.
No, I don't think he does at all. And I don't think it's the winning play for Samboy to try it because I think it's a close kill and not profitable.
Yeah, I think we will see Samboy hitting a decent chunk of these yellow ones because letting Speedster hold 32 territories is just way too many.
The argument for Samboy killing Speedster is both of the other players are on 2 cards, so they can't trade again before his next turn.
Yeah, I think if he had
Fair enough.
15, 20 more troops on that trade, he definitely
Yeah.
does, but it's just too little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely something he's thinking about.
Honestly,
Counting
had Speedster not taken that second kill, he would definitely be vulnerable.
Is
here.
this no trade on 4 for Samboy?
If Samboy doesn't have a trade here, then Speedster just cleans
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Speedster just sweeps.
No trade, or is he being dramatic? Oh, no trade.
Oh my goodness, that's so painful.
Yeah, no trade on 4 for Samboy.
Oh.
Definitely
thing's
not
for
what you want to
sure,
see in Game
We're
3
going
of
to
the
see
finals.
a third option in the spin-off here.
Yeah. That's painful. Something about
Yeah.
playing as purple with the Lord Toast avatar just gets you terrible card luck.
Yeah. This doesn't even open the door for Zycron to do
No,
anything because
no.
Zycron can't get the Samboy 11. He just doesn't have enough troops.
Although Zycron is sitting at 69 troops, which I think that wins some prize money. I don't remember exactly how much that's worth, but there it is. Speedster gets the first dab in. Yeah, and you don't want to hit too much of Speedster because you want to make this kill painful for him in case he doesn't have the trade on 4.
Yep.
Make him work for it a little bit.
Yeah, force him to navigate the passing when he already is on most of the
Yeah,
board.
if Speedster doesn't have a trade here, that just wow, that's
Yeah,
gonna,
if Speedster doesn't have the trade on 4, the game gets really interesting. Because he's got to figure out... I think he would still have it, but it's tricky. How does he get the 5? Oh, through the portal?
How does he get the 11? The 15 would have to hit a 3 and then a 4 and then the 11.
Yeah.
yeah, he does not have it without a trade.
Yeah, I think Zycron's just being careful here. Not opening paths. Ah, he's
Doing
got
his
the
best
trade.
Yeah, he's doing his best to consolidate in case Speedster has a uncharacteristic mistake here, but this should be GG for
He's gotta
Germany.
still got to be careful placing his troops here.
Yeah, so it is possible both of
yeah,
the
he's
other
got it.
players would have a trade after the Samboy kill here.
Oh no, White did not take a card.
There's a 7.
Oh, Blazin didn't take a card.
No, Blazin was on 1.
Oh, was he
Blazin
only on
hasn't
one?
Yeah, Blazon
Oh,
hasn't
because
gone yet.
he traded early. Oh yeah, he just hasn't gotten this turn. That's what it was. It's
Yeah.
like I don't get that. Okay, so Speedster gets the kill.
Yep.
Poor Samboy, 6 in turn order, no cards on 4.
Yeah, rough to see, but Samboy did an excellent job of staying alive for as long as he did. And if he did get that set on 4,
Yeah,
which, aside from that unfortunate skill issue with no set on 4, this game would have been a little bit more interesting.
yeah, for sure.
With 4 people alive.
Yeah.
I think Speedster now is just too far ahead for
Does he kill
either of the
anyone
England
this
teams to
turn?
catch up.
It looks like he's lining up Zycron this turn.
I mean, he can hit whatever he wants here. He'll still have double the troops and double the cards. So
I think this
He's,
officially
good.
means we will not have a repeat Risk World Cup champion as England goes out to Germany.
Yeah, GG's to England 1/Dark England.
Dark England
And-
is done. But they won the World Cup last year and made it all the way to the finals this year. So heck of a performance from those 3.
Very good performance.
Then Speedster cleans this up this turn.
Yeah, but if he doesn't, he's got nothing to worry about. Blazon is
Yeah,
only sitting
can't
on
do
2
anything.
cards. But it should be noted that the second and third place were both of the English teams that made it to the final round.
That's
So
true. That's
That's
true.
interesting.
So Speedster
So
kills Blazon. Germany gets the win in game 3 and will be the third option in the Golden Game draw for the World Cup champions and a minimum of $300 to Germany. Let's see if we can get a little post-game talk, and then we will do the Golden Game draw for all the marbles.
I just want to point out Braden White's comment. Yes, I think there was a no trade on 4 that
Oh, I cut Crackle off because I switched VCs. I'll ask him to repeat it. Don't worry. Just early returns from the chat. Everyone's mad at Blazon for trading early. Thank you, Grim, for posting the waiting room link. So we'll go to match final here. Congrats to Speedster getting the win. And then here is what the final looked like. And you can see your 3 teams. Germany, Eastern Europe, and USA 1 will all have a chance to win the Golden Game draw here in just a few minutes. Crackle, I cut you off. Can you tell us what you were saying right at the end there? You said, I just want to mention...
No. I was confirming a chat point that Braden White made that we lost the no trade on 4 last year as well.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Welcome in, everybody. We've got, we got everybody. We've got Blazon, Roberto, Samboy, Zycron. I need to unmute Zycron because I still have him muted. Still have him muted somehow. Zycron, let me unmute you.
Zycron's muted, Mitch.
Yeah, so
oh, he's muted himself.
Well.
Okay,
Yeah,
I thought
sorry.
I thought I had still not unmuted you, so it was really confusing me. Okay, so we got everybody in here. We want to go through the game chronologically. So let's start with kind of just initial spawns. What you guys thought about your turn order, maybe, and then in the spawn you had. We can go first in turn order. Zycron, first in turn order. You're obviously excited about that when you saw it come up.
Absolutely thrilled to be first in turn order in just this World Prog
Always
game.
thrilled.
Yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. We were considering straight off the bat, like, do we potentially card skip and make ourselves less vulnerable and stuff, or potentially more vulnerable, but ultimately we just decided not to and hoped for some other sort of plays to come out. Initially, my thoughts in the game was to make so many positions that I could not set on 4 on the second round of trades and be safe, but purple was just really close to us on all of our stacks. So if we did not set on 4 in the second round, they would have
Okay.
had us.
You were worried about Sandboy.
Yeah, so yeah, we just I had to set on 4 in the second round, and then yeah, but yeah, unfortunate turn order, I suppose. Spawn wise, I feel like we had a good spawn, but it was just it was a very open map, even with 6 players and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
there was hardly any kill guards, and we couldn't really get ourselves
Places
in
to
any
hide.
safe spaces.
Speedster spawning second in turn order. You felt good about it?
That's all I needed. Not go first.
You were just anything but first was good for you.
Anything but first.
And early on, you were lining up from the very start. You started lining up blue, Eastern Europe.
Yeah, I lined up blue and red
Okay.
simultaneously. They were all in a line.
You seem to be consolidating a lot with your positions. Not worried about having a ton of positions on the map just because it was an open map. Was that kind of your thought?
If you want to kill somebody in the second position, you need all your troops and basically touch your target, quote unquote.
Okay.
To actually get the kill and then maybe chain it.
So you can't have them in small stacks. You need them all in big stacks if you're going to get a kill from second.
Yeah, in second position, you're not going to get killed by the first position. So having stacks on the corners that you can't use is not important.
Ah, very good. Very good. Third in turn order was Eastern Europe, Roberto. Yeah, Roberto, tell us about your thoughts there early on.
Yeah, I was happy with the spawn. At the beginning, I was lining up white.
Yeah.
But he was kill guarded on the left position by 4 players, and not me. So I swapped to red.
Okay, so you swapped who you were lining up.
Yeah, red. And he actually made at the end 4 position. He had 5 positions, and he was moving closer to me, and he had 4 positions at the end. So I think I had a easy kill on him if Blazin didn't trade it.
Yeah, if he didn't trade early, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Blazin, what are you thinking?
So we